Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Cage. I'm your host, Jim Graham, and joining me today on the line, we have a special guest. He just fought at Rizin FF1 and was victorious. He is the Detroit superstar, Daron Cruickshank. And Daron, thanks for coming back on Beyond the Cage.
Well, Jim, thanks for having me.
Right off the bat here, Daron, I want to ask you, for this fight, you were sporting this Don Fry-esque mustache, and I was wondering if you can kind of enlighten myself and the fans the reasoning behind the new look here for this fight here in Rizin.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm in a different organization, and I was basically told, like, you got to create some kind of character, and it's a fresh start for me. I fought for the UFC. I think I had 13 fights, and this was my first fight outside of it. And it was almost refreshing to create some kind of a different persona and carry myself, a little different than what I have in the past. And I had a blast doing it.
Now, does your girlfriend like the mustache? That's the real question.
Well, her birthday was actually yesterday, the day I got back, and her birthday present was me shaving the mustache off.
All right, okay, that explains
Yeah.
it. Now, of course, you had to fly from here in Detroit all the way to Japan for this fight. And how long was the flight in total hours there?
Going there, I actually flew into Tokyo and then to Nagoya. So I was on the plane total, both flights, maybe 14 hours, which was really long. So it was, I wore those like special socks so like the blood wouldn't get stuck in my legs and all that other stuff. So I did it pretty well.
Now, of course, with that long flight and the time zone difference, did you feel out of whack or anything like that due to the jet lag or difference there in time?
No, going there I was fine, and I adjusted to their time zone pretty easy. I went there a couple of days before they actually wanted me to come out. I actually booked my own hotel so I could get adjusted even more. And it was well worth it because the other guys that got there they got there that night, and then the next day they had to start cut weight, and I would have been totally messed up if I had to do that. So it didn't really affect me at all. It was when I got back, like I'm still messed up. Like when I got back to Michigan, getting back to the Michigan time zone, like I haven't adjusted yet.
Your opponent for this fight was Sasaki, and I was wondering how much were you able to find in terms of footage of him to try to prepare for this fight, Daron?
I only saw a couple videos, and I mean they were pretty recent, I think. But that's all I really needed. It's one thing to watch a video and see a guy, and it's a whole nother thing getting actually in front of him, and because you can't really compare like my speed to other people's speed that he's fought, or my skill to other people's skill that he's fought, because I think it's completely different. I believe that I am one of the best strikers in the world, and it comes out in my fights. I mean, everybody I fight, even the guys that strike, ultimately become wrestlers.
Your fight for Rizin FF1 was in a boxing ring, and I believe for just about all your career you have fought in some form of a cage. So I was wondering, was fighting in a boxing ring a lot different for you, or did it feel kind of like second nature once you stepped between the ropes?
Well, it was my first time ever competing in a ring. So it was a little different, but I got, I've been to the boxing gym, I don't know, a crap ton of times in my life. I grew up basically in a ring. I just never competed in a ring. So it really did come second nature to me. I loved it, and I think it's a pretty good home for me, Rizin F1 or FF1. It's pretty good.
Of course, Rizin has a very similar set of rules to Pride FC back in the day, where you can use kicks and knees to the head of a grounded opponent, but no elbows. And I was wondering, since you fought in the UFC for so long under their unified rules, was that did that give you any sort of problems with the rule change here for Rizin?
Well, I train, martial arts, so the sport of it is a little different, and it's taking away weapons as far as my elbows was a little difficult in practice because I throw elbows all the time, especially when we get in that range. So it's that was a little difficult, but adding weapons, the knees and the kicks to the face on the ground was a huge plus. And obviously, I chucked those things trying to hit them. Like it was a lot of fun. I really like the rules. The rules change was pretty cool.
Well, it looked as though, like you said, you fit with the new rules just fine there in Japan. But was there anything that kind of surprised you between the experience and the actual fight itself when you got there in Japan?
Yeah, the biggest thing that really took me by surprise was the fans. The fans are completely different than what I'm used to. I mean, I'm used to going into a cage, everybody's screaming, guys are getting drunk and you just hear obscene things all the time. And at this venue, I mean, there was probably 7,000 people there. It was dead silent the entire time we fought. And I'm not used to that. It was like fighting in a room with nobody in it. So that was definitely different for me. And it's just a culture thing over there,
Now, after the fight, you called out longtime Japanese legend Shinya Aoki after the fight. And do you think that's what's next for you, or do you think they maybe give you someone else first before you take on Aoki?
Yeah, I have a 3-fight contract with them, and right now it's set to a certain pay grade, I guess. So I want to say that they'll probably give me more fights as far as like the caliber of guys that I'm going to be fighting as far as the pay grade. But when that goes up, I will definitely be fighting that guy.
Looking at the latest news about Rizin, they are scheduled to have an event in June, which will feature Fedor Emelianenko in his home country of Russia. And is that something that you'd like to do? First of all, fight in June and fight in Russia?
No way, man. I would love to fight on that card. I actually didn't know about that. I thought it was the next card was going to be in like September or something. But if they're coming up in June, I'm down to fight. I mean, I didn't take any injuries. If you watch my career, I'm constantly fighting, and so I'm ready to go. Let's do this. Russia, here I come.
As you mentioned, they are planning their next event in Japan in September, and it will feature a open weight Grand Prix. MMA legend Vanderlei Silva has already signed on to compete in the 8-man open weight tournament. And is that something you would do, Daron? Fight some of these big guys here in a possible open weight tournament?
Yeah, that would be. I mean, show me the money, I guess. It depends on how much money is in there, right? I mean, that's what we're fighting. So, and I fight bigger guys all the time at practice. So it's definitely not out of bounds.
Speaking of Vanderlei Silva, he was in the main event of your fight there at Rizin FF1, where he did a tag team grappling match against Sakuraba, was his other main opponent there. And what did you kind of think of that whole thing with the tag team grappling match as the main event?
The grappling match, it was definitely different. I watched it. It didn't look like. I mean, they were giving each other respect. It was more like a spectacle or a show rather than like true competition. I mean, yeah, they didn't definitely want to get submitted or anything, but they were putting on a good grappling show. And it was cool. It was nice to see. Change of pace.
Now, is that something you would ever do in the future, a tag team grappling match like that?
I guess. I mean, it first and foremost, I'm an entertainer, so yeah, sure.
Now, besides the rules and the boxing ring, one thing that was also a little different for you was the gloves that Rizin uses, very similar to the old Pride gloves, and obviously you wear the same set of gloves for the last few years with the UFC. So how did the gloves feel for you, Daron?
No, they definitely did feel a little different. They attach to your hand slightly different. There's laces. And it's all the same to me. I mean, when you get into the cage or the ring or the cage, the main point is to hit him in the face. You don't really care about your equipment or where you're at or what city or state. So it was all good.
I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Darren, just because it was just recently released in the news that Conor McGregor is supposed to headline UFC 200, one of the biggest MMA events to ever happen, decided to call it a career and retire. And I was wondering, what do you think about Conor McGregor just all of a sudden, kind of out of the blue, deciding to call it quits?
I don't know. I don't necessarily see him going through that. I mean, you don't just stop this sport. Like, there's guys, even Dan Severn still fights. Like, and he's ancient. It's something. It's hard to walk away from. I don't think that he's going to be done. This is just some kind of spectacle, or he's a huge, I don't know. He just loves the attention that he gets, and this is just probably, in my eyes, another little thing to get more attention.
Of course, Rizin kind of has a little deal there with Spike TV in Bellator, and I was wondering, is that something that could potentially happen for you fighting for Bellator, or would you have to wait till your Rizin contract expires?
No, my contract is non-exclusive other than other fighting companies in Japan. So I can fight anywhere I want to fight, as long as it doesn't interfere with one of their shows.
We've been covering a lot of kickboxing on the show lately, so I was wondering, with your great stand-up skills, have you ever considered maybe taking a professional kickboxing match either in Bellator or in Glory there, Darren?
Yeah, it's definitely on the table for sure. It's combat, and it's just slightly different rules again. So I feel comfortable with doing that.
Main reason I asked Darren about the Glory side of things is John Franklin, the current CEO of Glory. He's originally from Detroit, and looking at your skill set against some of the other 155ers that Glory has, I think you would fit right in, whether your people contacted them or vice versa. I think you would succeed in that organization.
No, I didn't know he was in Detroit. I would definitely have to hit him up.
Now, of course, you ultimately signed a contract with Rizin, but were there other offers that came in from other organizations as well, Darren?
Yeah, we talked to basically all the big organizations and got what they were offering, but no one was really offering what I thought I was worth, because I was on a 3-fight losing streak. Nobody saw my worth because my past 3 fights, and I think too many people put that on a pedestal. They don't actually see the fight and base it off my performance. They just see win or lose.
Were you close to signing with anyone other than Rizin?
No, not really. I didn't like the offers, so I wasn't really, set in stone anywhere.
Besides Shinya Aoki, is there anyone else that you would like to fight next for your Rizin fight, or just kind of see what they give you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty hard for them to find me a fight. So it's, I'll take whatever they can give me.
Now, I noticed this on your Instagram page. Once you landed there at Detroit Airport, you post some pictures of a new gun there you got from Oakland Tactical.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting in front of Oakland Tactical right now. I'm gonna go in there and get me some kind of present, little win bonus present for myself. So yeah, pretty excited. We'll see. I'll probably post some pictures of it.
All right, Darren, I'll get you out of here with this. Of course, in a couple weeks, the new Marvel movie, Captain America Civil War, is coming out. And I was wondering if you were kind of involved in that sort of thing with the heroes against each other. Would you side with Captain America, or would you side with Iron Man?
Oh, man. It's that would be a hard choice. Iron Man's pretty freaking cool. He's got all the cool gadgets and stuff, and super smart dude. But, Captain America, you can't go wrong there either. He's a freaking nature athlete, and he's representing America. So that'd be hard.
Real quickly, of course, you came out to this fight in Rizin kind of with the American flag style get up and suit there. So I was wondering, maybe you come out next time with Captain America's shield or something like that, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I would want to get an authentic one. Like it has to be legit. I'm not talking about the Walmart thing from, you know. I wanted to really do something like in Rocky where you know, Creed came out and like was dancing and stuff, but I couldn't find that like authentic suit. Um, so maybe next time I'll have one made.
He is the Detroit superstar, Daron Cruickshank. You can follow him on Twitter at Cruickshank155. And Daron, thanks again for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to your next fight.
Well, thanks, Jim, and you know, anytime, whenever you need me to come on, I'll come on. I love talking about myself.
I appreciate that, man. And once again, that was the Detroit superstar, Daron Cruickshank, right here on Beyond the Cage.